All right, it is 6:01, January 16th school board meeting, and we will start with Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And a moment of silence. Amen. All right, Mr. Martin.
All right. Well, welcome to our January board meeting. First off, it's School Board Appreciation Month, and on behalf of the community of Pea Ridge, thank you very much for what you do. Your work goes not unrecognized, it goes unpaid.
It certainly does.
One of the few public servants who work for a price of zero. You are doing it out of the kindness and goodness of your heart, and I know our community really appreciates it, and I know I do as well. So, with that, we'll move on to talking about some student achievement success. Ms. Meeks and Ms. Cope from the high school are here, and they're going to talk about some of the things that are going on at the high school. Give me just a second.
Well, starting us off, I'm sure you've seen this graphic probably, I feel like 1,000 times at this point, but here at the high school, we're working a lot on our mission and vision, and we've spent time diving into it with our leadership team to make sure that it aligns to what our faculty and staff truly believe and that we're living it out. And so now we're in the really deep depths of living it out day to day and ensuring that our practices match that. And so something that we are working on now is enhancing what that high school experience looks like for students and families. So we have kind of two pockets. Mr. Martin, can you go to the next one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we've got kind of two pockets that we're working on right now, and one of that is while students are at Pea Ridge High School, what that looks like, and what it looks like after Pea Ridge High School. And so we are knee-deep in all that course selection talk and what that looks like for next year and things like that. And one of the pieces, really valuable piece of information that we gathered was that we had a piece that we were missing, and we had some students' feedback was stating that we were missing that individualized approach. And so one of the pieces that we did in the past was we would kind of do a shotgun approach. We would do all the information to all the students, pick up what you need, you got it all kind of thing. The problem with that is that you have an overload of information and there's misinformation. And so we really wanted to kind of hone in on that and really deep dive into our students and making sure that we know our students and what they need for high school and after high school. So we partnered with our district admin team, we partnered with our program directors to really do a deep dive into our students. We pulled a lot of data, what courses they're in, what credits they have, what credits they don't have, what pieces they're missing. We've taken some groups of students and we put them into small groups, and now we're working on targeted information to those students. So we have, like for example, we have a group of Mr. Davis's ad program that we don't want them to miss out on any opportunities. They can do any practicum classes that they want to do. They can go into NWTI pathways if they want to do that. The problem is that they have to have information to make those choices, and then along with their families. So we are kind of revamping that process. Our counselors are doing a lot of work, and they're diving in and getting that individualized information out to them. We're also working on what this looks like from the family side of things, and most of you lived through the CAP process and know that it can be stressful for your students and for us. But we want to make sure that you guys are getting what you need as families so that you can go home and have those conversations and making sure that your students are prepared for what it looks like after they walk across the stage at graduation. And so we are in the depths of that, really digging in deep and really just making sure that the right people have the right information and that we're partnering with our teachers who have a passion for that and making sure that they're able to advise their students through the pathways as well. And then while they're at Pea Ridge High School, we're really working on what it looks like and what our students are seeing in the classroom. So we feel like this is one of our biggest growth areas of when you walk in a classroom, what does it look like? And what should it look like in all of our classrooms across the high school? We are currently going through a training with the junior high where we're talking about what does engagement and motivation look like on a very down basis in every single classroom, and how do we get every kid back involved? If they're starting to dip out and to disengage, what does it look like to bring them back? Also, what does it look like to have really good structure? You know, in our lower schools, they have that down. Like I did a walk with the primary, and it blew my mind. I was like, there's so much movement, and yet there's so much control. And at the high school, you know, you sometimes need those skills of making sure that students know, I know what's coming next. It lowers their anxiety. It makes it where they can take on whatever challenge they're looking at for learning and take it on head on. And so we're working through a training with our teachers. the thing that I personally like about the training is that it's not a one-size-fits-all. The way that I teach is probably going to be different than the way that Ms. Cope teaches. And so it allows teachers to actually grasp things that they can implement immediately and see the positive effects of that, and they can keep growing on that. But it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. So I think it's going to do great things at both campuses. In addition to that, we're looking at taking the strategies and what does it look like for one teacher to do this strategy, and is it working, and let's replicate that in other classrooms. And so let's be learners, because we do have experts in the building that are running effective classrooms, and let's get together and put our efforts together to ensure that's happening. And then you've also heard this across campuses, but we're also looking on tracking student data and making sure that we're really reflective and responding immediately. And I'm not going to steal the thunder, so I'm going to let Jamie take it over from here.
And so, like, what does this look like at the high school?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. What we have all of our teachers doing, and we're highlighting English on this piece tonight, but basically, they're giving assessments and they're common assessments. So it doesn't matter which English 10 teacher you have, you are getting that assessment, and then those teachers are comparing the data together. They're aligned, they're using proficiency scales to make sure that it doesn't matter if you have teacher A or teacher B, you're gonna get the same grade no matter what classroom you end up in. And so from there, you can see the blue are our students at a level 3. And then the yellow is the students who are a level 2, and they will need intervention. So they're close to being there, but they might have had a misconception or slightly missed the target. And so from there, our English teachers are working to pull them during sessions for targeted. Like when they come in, it's not just a study hall or anything like that. They are honing in on what skill did they not understand, reteaching that skill and reassessing that skill until they become one of those blue students. And then the top tier of students, that's the level 1. Those are, it's orange, but it looks a little yellow. But anyway, so those are the students that they need a little bit more intervention. So that might not be just a one intervention session, you're good to go. Those students need more targeted intervention, like you're highlighting in class, you're giving them extra attention for encores, multiple sessions until they get to there. But our goal is for all of those students to get closer and closer to that blue there. And so can you go to the next one? Thank you. This is English 11. So English 11, you'll notice they have a different color. That's because they have students at level 4. And so these are students who actually go beyond grade level expectations. And so they've designed their assessments to where they can take it further. And so they can actually see kids who aren't just at grade level, they're performing above that. And then again, they are also using that data to bring more kids to, theirs would be the green there.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but can you explain what the numbers and letters across the bottom mean?
Oh, yes, so those are essential standards. And again, so we teach a lot of standards at each grade level, but we have our teams get together and as a district, vertically, like K through 12, determine what skills are most essential. So like a 10th grade teacher sat down with a 9th grade teacher and said, what do I need to teach them to help you in 10th grade? And kind of tied them together to make the most important ones. And so again, we're teaching all of the standards, but these are highlighted standards that we feel are important to help them succeed as they move up in grade levels. And so that's what we're just assessing. We're assessing all of them, but these are targeted standards that we're looking at to help them move forward. And then, next one. So I also wanted to highlight some of the instruction going on, at what that looks like at our campus. And so one of the things is that when people hear direct instruction, you usually think that you're sitting in a desk and the teacher's talking and it's kind of like Charlie Brown with the like, and that's not what it looks like. Direct instruction is a lot of things, and there's a lot of different pieces that go into that. And so I think at the high school level, people think like, well, all it is direct instruction. Kids are just taking notes. And so with our math team, Ms. Valadares, she's new to our district. I co-teach with her. The students call her Miss V. But we have been working on, since we came back from break, with, we're trying to get them to understand like 3D shapes and then how to find the surface area and volume of those. And so basically, I'm just gonna walk you through how we started it out. And basically they were given Play-Doh and they were told to make 2 shapes with it. They had to make a cylinder and they had to make a sphere. And then from there they had to cut those based on, like, we were like, okay, you're gonna cut this one vertically, you're gonna cut this one horizontally, because we needed them to know what happened when you pull those apart, what shape do you see? And that's a 2D shape, and that can be really hard for kids if you don't have something tangible to understand. And we needed them to get to the point where, like, you're not always gonna have an object in front of you that you can cut, and so we were trying to build them to the point. And so she had them use Play-Doh to make the cut, and so there you can see their student work of their predictions and what that would look like. And then from there, we presented them with their like wood cutouts. And basically, it's a shape where they cut it multiple times. And so they're saying, if I cut it here and here and here and here, what shape could I put all of these together and it would form? And so you can see the top one is a pyramid and the bottom one is a sphere. The middle one is really hard. It's actually a cube that is like a diamond on its corners, like sideways. That one was really tricky. But then from there, we took it and we applied it to something that they had already known, which was scale factor. We learned it earlier in the first semester, but now we're trying to apply it to not just 2D shapes, but 3D shapes. And so they were given a piece of paper and they were told, okay, you have to make this paper smaller. We want it to be 3/4 of the size that it is now. So they had to realize that, oh, I need to make the length 3/4 of the size shorter and the width. You know, you have to do both. And so we had them do that multiple times. So like 3/4, 1/2, 1/4, and then we stacked the paper on string and they were able to hang it and have like a pyramid there. And again, that ties into scale factor that we've already done, that pulls in the cross sections because we showed them like, oh look, this is also if you cut it, you could see it like this. And that will ultimately lead them into understanding that whenever we apply scale factor to volume and surface area, you have to apply scale factor to everything. You're having to multiply it multiple times to get there. And so, again, that's just like direct instruction isn't always, you're just sitting there. Our students are actively engaged. They're doing things to help them manipulate and understand the content.
I love that.
Any questions for him?
Yeah, it's a great example. No, it's great.
I was gonna try to bring you Play-Doh. Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's awesome.
I want to also
Thank you.
say that the high school, I want to highlight that before Christmas, the junior high's right behind getting on board, but I challenged the high school team, their counselors are like, we really have to focus on our personalized cap, and they were like, but I want to say, not 2 weeks later, that Kelsey and her positive and pulling in her, she's surrounded by a great team. They're like, okay, we listened, we thought, and now we know we can do it. So I'm really proud of them rising and accepting the challenge that they were like, okay, you know, but I'm really proud of them for thinking outside the box, and I really appreciate their work.
Well, I can especially see, I mean, the kids that we have, they're wonderful. But, you know, today, 2025, I mean, I know my sons are fantastic, but they're playing games a lot, they've got a phone in their hand a lot. And if I were to sit them in the classroom and it were just the Charlie Brown approach, and you're going from this, you know, with the, you know, they've got a gadget in their hand to that, it would not work. So you have to have this interact. I love this hands-on interactive approach, especially today, more than 5 years ago, more than 10 years ago, and probably increasingly important, I would think, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, well done. That's great.
Yeah, and this view is phenomenal.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Guys, I forgot the consent agenda.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So, are there any questions with that?
No.
Okay, with that, I'd like to make the recommendation that the consent agenda, financial report, and board minutes of the regular board meeting held on December 9th, 2024 be approved as submitted.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
I'll motion.
Motion by Mindy,
I'll second.
second by Jessica. All in favor? None opposed.
Next, we have board-to-board transfers. We had 3 applications come in before January 1 school choice kicks in. We have ample room in everything, and I believe it's 8th grade, 9th grade, and 2nd grade. So I'd like to make the recommendation that we approve the board-to-board transfers as presented.
All right, we have a recommendation on the board. Do we have a motion? Call motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Eric, all in favor? None opposed.
All right, next we have intercom bids. Last month, we did radios and stuff with the school safety grant. This is some more of the school safety grant. Mr. Henry, Mr. Ramey, they've been working to secure bids to upgrade our intercom systems at all 5 schools. I left out the high school piece of it and sent it to you. And it's in a single piece over there at all of our campuses. And these upgrades will not come from local funds. This is part of a reimbursement school safety grant award from the state. We were able to secure 2 bids. The first bid came in from DCW at $75,784.49. The second bid came from, I believe I'm saying this right, Bloom, and it was $81,176.98. Mr. Hand, Pastor Mr. Dan, and Mr. Ramey, we'd like to go with DCW. Not only is they the lowest bid, but we have worked with them extensively in the past. Are there any questions?
Okay.
With that, I'd like to make the recommendation that we approve the bid from DCW in the amount of $75,784.49.
Okay, we have a recommendation, do we have a motion? Anybody at all?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mindy.
Yep.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ryan, all in favor? None opposed.
Up next, we have out-of-state travel. We have 3 requests. Our high school cheerleading team, they won state right before Christmas break, and they are having the opportunity to go to nationals. And that, when they went last year, and this year it's kind of around the same time. It's January the 24th to the 26th. It's a Friday through Saturday. The one thing I'm excited about this time is the weather forecast looks completely different than last year. I'm not having to hold them over for a day, hopefully. The second request is for our junior high choir, is requesting travel to Branson, Missouri on May 10th, 2025, and that's a Saturday. And the final request is our high school band and choir requesting travel to Dallas for an end-of-year event, and it's May 23 through 25. That's after graduation, but seniors can still go, and that's a Friday through Sunday. Transportation is looked at if they're able to meet the needs as well. So, are there any questions?
Nope.
I don't want to be the poor soul that tells the cheerleaders they can't go to the nationals.
They've worked hard.
Well, we'll let you do that.
No, I motion and second all at once.
With that, I'd like to make the recommendation to approve the out-of-state travel request as presented.
All right, we got a recommendation, do we have a motion?
I'll motion.
All right, Eric, second? We're a slow group tonight.
I'll second.
All right, good job, Ryan. All in favor?
Because we're on a Thursday.
None opposed.
That's right, we don't have that Monday spirit.
Yeah.
Up next is something else that a lot in our community have been waiting for.
Yes.
With the resurfacing of our fields, we're able to, put soccer lines in and everything, and be able to bring a proposal for you for both male and female student athletes to participate in. Mr. Craig's not here. He is at the Rogers Chamber tonight. He was scheduled for there, so he's speaking with them, so I get this duty today. One of the things that Coach Craig did was in September, he sent out a student survey, see if there's any interest, because if there's no interest, there's no need. There was interest. We had 99 yes responses, and out of our to be 9th through 12th, this year's 8th through 11th graders. So kids who could potentially play. 88 of those 199 that said yes, I've had previously played on a club team, a youth team, or a previous school, and 56% of them are current student athletes of ours, so that's a good sign that almost half of them are not, so it gives opportunity for more kids to be involved. And 32, this isn't a question about them, but 32 responded that they have a younger sibling that's playing as well, and that gives us information that there's kids in the future that will be interested.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep, that's important.
So we feel we have enough interest and commitment to start a soccer program. And from a staffing standpoint, what that would look like is the first year, I'd like to recommend of hiring a head boys and a head girls head coach. And they would assist each other. And after the first year, we will assess the number of students that we have involved and see about hiring assistant coaches to go along with that. So having a head and assistant and a head and assistant after the second year. And there's another reason for that, I'll get to it in a second. From a facility standpoint, practice and games are at Blackhawk at the stadium. And our locker rooms and coaches' offices will be in the junior high, which is really close, convenient for them to get to. So I think that's a good combination as well. The cost, there's initial cost startup. It's about $20,000, and you have to remember the majority of that cost are the goals itself. They're about that $10,000 to $12,000 for two competition level goals, but you also have the equipment from the flags that go in the corner to the soccer balls to uniforms and all that stuff. So they have some startup fee that we will cover. And there are also the costs that are similar to a baseball, softball game and everything. You know, the home games, the road games have their own costs because you're paying for kids to eat. And the personnel costs with 2 head coaches the first year and 2 assistant coaches the second year. And the budgeting, it'll be similar to baseball, softball, is what we're predicting, because that's what it is at other schools as well. So their budget would be built in kind of about the same as well. From an implementation standpoint, this is why for the first year, we're in an off year, so we can't declare for a varsity conference yet. We're 1 year out from having to do that, which is kind of a good thing.
Because it's a 2-year cycle, right?
Yes, ma'am. This will allow us to play a year of JV next year to get our feet wet and get going with 2 coaches and move to varsity in the 26-27 school year. I believe this is the same format we used with volleyball. When we started, I believe we started out with the JV program and then moved to that. The difference between this and volleyball is soccer is very much like baseball, softball. It's a 9-12 sport. There's no junior high soccer, and so that is a little bit different. But we would post, if approved, we will post head coaching positions, sign-ups and tryouts with kind of May-ish. Summer practice begins in June, and then they have an off-season in the fall because it's a spring sport. And they will begin practices in 2026, compete at the JV level next spring, and we will then declare with the AAA that we would like to be added to a conference. I would assume our conference will be very similar to baseball, softball, you know, those schools and everything. And then in the 26-27 school year, compete in conference at the varsity level. So I know this is something that our community, had several in our community, youth soccer programs are pretty strong here and everything. And it's a wonderful opportunity to be able to offer more programs and opportunity for our kids to
Right.
participate.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Much needed.
Do
Have
y'all
we-
have any questions?
Yeah, I have one.
Yes, sir.
Have we thought about like that stadium, especially in June, July, there's a lot of folks practicing on it, especially football. Have we thought about like a practice field,
Well,
or are we gonna let the head coach figure that out, or?
what we have is, we've partnered with the city, and we have a full-size soccer field right back here that they've leveled off and everything, and we didn't sod it, we hydro-seeded it, so this year we should be good to go. Today, I believe Coach Easterling had his baseball kids out there because, it's dry and everything. So we do have a practice spot, and to be honest with you, we're gonna need that practice spot a lot this year. Don't know when we'll have the stadium back online.
Yeah, I get that. I was talking like for future years,
Yes,
there's
sir.
a lot of demand for the stadium, and so, okay, cool.
There is, but we also are partnering with the city on what that looks like from like pee-wee football, pee-wee soccer and everything, because you are right, Mr. Hegman, we are the embassy states of Pea Ridge. We host almost everything. And so it's also having that partnership with the city to provide the appropriate, maybe not the competition space, but the practice space that everyone needs.
No, great, thank you.
Yeah. Do we know from the survey the interest level with both boys and girls?
I knew that was gonna be a question, and I forgot to put that in, and I cannot remember, but I can get that
That's
to
a-
you.
I want to
And-
say girls that said they were interested was mid-30s to low 40s, somewhere in that range.
And really, my question is, do you feel comfortable we've got enough of each?
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
Great. Good, good,
I
good.
mean, I'm learning about soccer as well. And so, but we need a solid 15 to 18 to play
Yeah. That's wonderful.
and to compete, so.
And there'll be enough schools in our conference around here to play?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
I think we're like the last
Are we
ones
the last
remaining.
ones to come on?
Is that right?
Yeah.
And so. yes,
Gentry's got it, Gravitz got it, I
I
mean,
think
they're,
Gravette had one.
Probably Berryville, I would
well,
think.
they all
We
do.
should be
Honestly, we are
able to
the
JV
last ones.
schedule, pretty easily, but just playing people in our conference and picking up, freshman, sophomore teams from Benton, Bill Rogers
Yeah.
and stuff as well.
And are we gonna look, same thing like we did with bowling, where there can be outside, like, community, people who pass a background check can come and help?
Yes, ma'am, we have that in other sports as well.
Okay.
I know that, I believe Coach Reynolds has that in softball, and I know that Coach Easterling does that in
Okay.
baseball as well. And of course, Coach King with
Mr. Brewer?
Mr. Brewer,
Mhm.
or Coach Brewer.
Coach Burr, yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Great.
sounds good.
Great.
I love that.
Anything else? Okay. With that, I'd like to make the recommendation to approve adding men's and women's soccer for the 25-26 school year as presented.
All right, we have a recommendation for soccer. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion.
Motion by Mindy, second.
I'll second.
Second by Jessica. All in favor? None opposed.
Up next, we have our E-rate contract, and I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Henry.
So, every year we do, we try to purchase new equipment for E-Rate. They have two categories, Category 1 and Category 2. Every year we have Category 1, which is like fiber from intermediate or junior high, and then it's discounted based on our free and reduced school lunch program. So as of right now, we're 60% school, so we get a 60% discount, and then we pay the other 40%. Now, they have Category 2, which is like for equipment, so for our access points, or our switches, or our battery backups. So what we're recommending for this year, which Category 2 funds are also on a 5-year cycle, so the new cycle started in 2021. We've almost exhausted the majority of that on some projects before I came here. But I think we're pretty much about 90% exhaustion after this contract this year. But for this year, what we're looking at doing is putting in new battery backups for all of our IT closets all around the district. We're running on battery backups right now that I think were donated by Walmart that were used years ago. Most of them aren't working. So the battery backups we're putting in now, industry standard battery backups are 5-year with a 3-year warranty on batteries. Sometimes you have a 5-year warranty on batteries. There's one place, or one vendor called N1C that makes battery backups, and they have a 10-year warranty and a 10-year warranty on batteries, which is just awesome. So that's what we're recommending is putting in. We have 33 IT closets, and we'd like to put a battery backup in each one. What those battery backups do, a lot of times we have brownouts, flickers, all our switches go down. Now we're losing classroom instructional time or business time at the desk because now we're waiting 5 to 10 minutes for everything to come back up. So that's basically what we're wanting to do. I think Mr. Martin has the number for that. The number he gives you, there's a district portion and then there's a total project portion. We will only, out of our pocket, we will only pay for the district portion. The invoicing, the vendor will invoice federal E-rate program for the remainder of the project.
Yeah, we're on a 60-40 split.
Yep.
E-rate, we'll pay about $42,000 of it, and the district portion will be about $28,000. E-rate is something that we have used for years. It's how we have built our fiber network within our district, putting switches in, and everything. We have maximized its potential for our district to build the best network we can for our district. So it's been a wonderful tool for us.
So E-Rate's gonna put out the 10-year warranty instead of a 5-year, which other company?
So the bid that I chose to go with is the one that has a 10-year warranty on the battery backups and the batteries for the battery backups. So I think that.
From the same company?
Do what?
From the same company? They're from, the battery backups are from the same company?
Yes, N1C is the maker of the battery backups. White River won the bid. E-Rate just facilitates this whole thing.
Right.
And they pay 60%. But what I chose was higher bid that came in, but it has a 10-year warranty. All other bids that came in were 5 years. So if you do the math, and I put two bids together to make 10-year, it's 2/3 the price higher than what that one bid came in. Yeah, there's a 10-year, so if one fails in a 10-year period, we don't have to look at battery backups.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Oh, I think that's fabulous. Good job.
Yep, thanks.
Oh, the job that Mr. Hand's doing is tremendous, you know, it's with the LEARNS Act, you know, other acts have been passed from technology standpoint, from our cooperative, our emergency action plans to the Act 754, which is making sure that all of our vendors and we have a contract signed where you cannot share personally identifiable information, everything. It's the task of the technology director has changed in the past 16 months, and he is doing a fabulous job with it. So,
Thank you.
Good job.
and with that, I would like to make the recommendation that we approve the E-rate service contract with White River Services and Solutions as presented.
Okay. We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion? All motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Eric. All in favor? None opposed.
All right, every year, oh wait, we got a football field and track construction update. Well, I know we've sent a couple of pictures and everything, and it's pretty obvious where we are. We've got the green part finished, slab laid for the band bleachers or bandstands. Track is next. It has to be, they have to come in, grade it to a 1% grade, come in, put 2.5 inches of pavement down, and it has to rest for, or cure for so many days, and it has to be so warm. So we are in a holding pattern until we can get the correct weather to lay the track down. Mr. Cruz, I believe, will be coming in April to put the sound system in, and Mr. Kennedy with Stadium Pro Bleachers will be here in April as well to put the bandstands in. So we're on pace. We knew we were going to have a weather issue, but the field is in. It looks great.
It does.
It
It looks great.
Looks really good.
The fibers are not, the only way I know to describe it is laying down. They're sticking up, it's soft, the G-Max on it is, they haven't tested it yet, but I can assure you it is substantially lower than what we were planning on. Mr. Rainey, would you like to add anything?
No, the geosurface has been great to work with, and they've done a really good job, thus far. We kind of joked earlier today, we're in that part that we knew we'd get to where the field's ready, and now we got to get the track and the rest of it finished, and it's just kind of sitting there for a minute.
Yeah.
But we're really pleased with how it looks and where we're at. We were walking on it yesterday, and it's noticeably different. Our fibers are longer. They decay with UV light over time, and so kudos to the board for allowing us to do this. It's going to make a difference for our students.
Oh, absolutely. And our track is in the same condition as everyone's yard. It is wet and spongy right now. So, up next, we have our report on board member hours every year. We have to report out on hours. Everybody is right where they need to be. Mr. Rowley is at the bottom, but he is a new board member, and he has until December of this year, it's technically this year, yes, to receive his 9 hours. And Ms. Cawthon, we believe she has a lot more, and we are trying to figure that out and get logged in to verify and print that off. So everybody's in great shape. I know we have Ms. Branham and Mr. Dye be recognized as 24-hour board members. board members of distinction, I believe they call that, a few months ago, so that, we're really, again, it's School Board Appreciation Month, but this is just another thing that y'all do, is go on and take professional development hours that are above and beyond these board meetings as well. So we thank you very much for that. Up next. Up next is our millage rollback, and I believe everybody who lives in Pea Ridge, Arkansas, is a little excited about this.
For a minute.
For a minute, let's see, in 2023, we had the same announcement, we did a 1.5 mil rollback. For the 2024 assessed value, when they came in and did the assessed value, every 3 years they reassess. We had more than a 10% increase in assessed value. And assessed value comes from three pools. It comes from real estate, which is people's homes and businesses. It comes from personal property, which is, easy way to describe it, if you have to tag it at the revenue office, you pay taxes on it. Cars, boats, trailers, airplanes, I guess, and anything like that, you pay taxes on. And then the other one is utilities, which people sometimes kind of forget about. It's our lowest one of it, but that, when Black Hills Energy comes in and puts in a gas line, fiber that's put in town, that has assessed value as well. So our assessed value increased from 1 year to the next more than 10%. So we're entitled, our taxpayers are entitled to a rollback in our millage, which is a good thing. And for this year, it is 2.11 mils, not 2.1, but 2.11 mils. And so what that means is the 25 mils for district maintenance and operation mills at statewide, that never gets rolled back. That's in state law, it stays. But what this is for is for our bonded debt mills that we've voted for as a community. And we're going, for this year, for this tax year, for the 2024 millage rate, we're still at 47.2 mils. This is the tax that is paid during 2025 because everything's a year behind the taxes.
Right.
In the 2025 assessment year for 2026 collections, our mill rate will go from 47.2 to 45.09. Which means when we started the high school at 3.9 mils is what our community voted for when we built the high school. I believe we are taking back 3.61 of those now in the past 3 years, which is good. But I know this also comes with people's houses being worth more money.
Yes.
And
Correct.
everything. We will continue to see our assessed value increase this year. We had, every once in a while I'll share how many impact fees that are paid yearly. This year, I believe the city was at 610, which is an all-time record, but there were some reasons for that. The larger apartment complex behind Wendy's and Domino's and everything was in, and that was either 120 or 160 units.
Yeah.
And the year before that, they were a little over 400. So this year, I anticipate us being in the 300 to 400 range of new residencies, and that's everything from a townhouse to an apartment to a R1 subdivision, R2 subdivision, all the different level of housing. So we're very blessed in this case that we will see our assessed value continue to grow, and in the future that will help us help our district out. Are there any questions? Because this isn't a vote, this is just information.
Right.
Okay?
No.
With that, Mr. Dye, what I have next is personnel.
All right.
I believe we probably need to go.
We do.
into
So it is 6:40 and we will now go into executive session.